Hey guys, sorry, I got so distracted making that thumbnail. I was like, wait a minute, I need to change it last minute. So I had to put the little thought bubble over Jimmy's head. Cause earlier today, I was doing some digging into the Washington County records for properties for the Duggars. And I noticed that Jim Bob owns a ton of properties, like a mazillion properties. And all of his kids live on them, meaning he's basically still controlling them because he's paying for their housing. Jessa and Ben are living in a home that their parents own. You've got Kendra and Joe living in a home, the guest house that's actually on the Duggar property, not the warehouse. And then you have, I think Jill and Derek still live in the house loaned by her parents, even though they are not in a relationship anymore with her parents. And then you've got John, David, and Abby. I don't know what their living situation is. They are in a 660 square foot trailer. I don't know if it's on the property of the Duggars or if it's been purchased elsewhere. John David apparently owned some property of his own before living with his parents, but he lived with his parents until he married Abby. But then there's this big sort of elephant in the room of Josh and Anna. And it started in the spring of 2019. And I think you saw a little bit of it on this past season of Counting On. Because when this new season rolled out of Counting On, Michelle and Jim Bob were back after not being on the show for 5 years. And when they returned, they talked about how they were, Josh and Anna were back. And about how it's been so nice to have Anna back so that she can help with the kids. And she likes to do stuff with the kids. And they have a cow and blah, 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 blah. Which had a lot of people wondering, why are Josh and Anna back on the Duggar property? That's weird, right? They had owned their own home, which is actually right above you. This was the house that they were previously living in, 3,000 square foot, 5 bedrooms, not too shabby by any means for Arkansas. It was on a considerable amount of acreage, and they sold it. And it ended up selling for a lot more than what they bought it for. They made a considerable amount of money, assuming they didn't have it mortgaged to all hell. But when the house went on the market, there was all these questions why are they selling their house? This is weird. And then it was only a couple months, it was within the same time frame that they also announced that they were expecting another child. And so people were are they getting ready to get divorced? Are they getting their assets? Are they getting rid of their assets? Is something going on with Josh? Well, then in November, we find out that there's this investigation going into Josh, which then makes me wonder, did they sell the house to get rid of assets so they couldn't be potentially seized by the government? That was my initial thought. And then there was some questions about the Department of Homeland Security's investigation because people in the area, the locals, said that the Department of Homeland Security had actually been on the property of Jim Bob and Michelle. But then Jim Bob and Michelle came out and said, no, our house was not raided. But Department of Homeland Security said, well, we were on the property. So were they on the property that was occupied by Josh and Anna? Now, they didn't say that they had raided that area. They actually said that they had visited a property of Josh's car lot. And it was a couple days later that car lot, the Duggar family removed all of the cars off the car lot. The website didn't have any new cars on it. They stripped all the website, the website's complete inventory of cars were gone. The lot itself had a lot of issues with the county. It took them forever to get proper permits. They didn't have an address up there. The buildings were super sketch for what it was. He was going back and forth with Springdale for a long time about that car lot. The car lot no longer exists. Josh doesn't own it anymore. So that begs the question, why is the car lot gone? And why is his house gone? Right? And the car lot's never gone up since they raided it in November. And we all know that investigations by the federal government take a really long time. I know this because I've been following another investigation related, and now court case for the Chrisleys. And we know with Todd and Julie Chrisley, the government actually started their investigation in 2012, and they were seizing assets and property as far back as 2016 and 17, and then they only got indicted in August of 2019. So there was this long process that they took in order to reach the point of indictment for Todd and Julie Chrisley. So it could be years before we know what's going on with Josh and Anna, but it's curious that their house is gone and his business is gone in the midst of this looming investigation. And the Department of Homeland Security confirms this investigation, ongoing investigation, involved a business related to Josh. Not necessarily saying that Josh was a suspect, but if Josh owns a business and they're searching a business, it's fair to say that Josh is under investigation, okay? Which is why there's all this like media renewed interest in this show, because it's like, well, what's going on? So let me just show you, and I'm gonna preface this by saying there's a Reddit group in Reddit, a subreddit, that has been sort of following and sort of providing clues, and they did some digging and they figured out something. So I don't want to take credit for this. This actually came from a subreddit, but I did some digging of my own after getting clued off on Reddit. Hope you understand that. But the Duggar Snark Reddit, if you are a huge Duggar Snarker, it's a great place to go. So this was the home that they sold this past spring. I don't know what's with these, like the outside exteriors of these homes. I don't understand this look, but this is apparently what the Duggars like. It was on a decent amount of property. They had a nice kitchen, nice open floor plan. It was like 3,000 square feet, 4 or 5 bedrooms. Big enough, definitely, for their growing family. Now, this was a photo that Anna shared only a few days ago on Instagram. And it's interesting for a few things. I want you to take notice of a big, large mirror behind her daughter, a brown couch that she's sitting next to. Okay? Just note those two things. And then note the counters here, because this is what she has posted when she was making food for the kids on another post. And then here again, note the specific sofa and floor here, because that's important, along with the wall color. Those are all things I want you to pay attention to. And again, the counter and the wall color here are important. And this is why it's pretty much a given that they're living in a warehouse. And I'm not lying, it's a frickin' warehouse on the Duggar property. So back in a couple years ago, they were getting ready for a wedding for John and Abby. And during it, they created this like pop-up wedding dress thing so that Abby could try her wedding dresses on. They brought someone in, they brought all the dresses so that she could do it with everyone around them, so they wouldn't have to be like stuck in in a wedding place. And there's that brown couch that I just showed you. Jess is sitting on it, and this is actually inside the warehouse inside that warehouse, okay? And I'll show you the exterior in a minute. Here they are doing construction, and you can sort of see the wall color, and you can see the countertops are the same. There's the same floors with the brown couch. There's the brown couch again. And this was what it looked like when they did the actual pop-up. This is how it was all set up. And there's the exterior. And when they did and this was from, literally just grabbed screenshots from that episode. So it says Duggar's Guest House. And you can see the floors, the couches, everything, okay? And then there is the mirror. The really large mirror that was behind their daughter's. Now let's go back to show you. So there's the countertops, there's the floor, there's that big mirror behind her. It's like they never even took the mirror down. So they're basically staying in this warehouse space, which has been outfitted as maybe an apartment of some sort. It's got aluminum siding. excuse me, I live out in the country, and this is what we would consider an outbuilding. We wouldn't consider it a home because it's made from, these are the types of buildings that you can actually purchase for farms. A lot of people nowadays will have these for, they build them for like their equipment. And so they build these big pre-manufactured warehouse out exteriors, just like that. And they bring it in, and you can buy these pre-made, and you can have them put, or they come in pieces. But this is something that people use a lot, and it's an inexpensive way to live, but they're not designed to be livable, if that makes sense. They're sort of just like, they've converted sort of an outbuilding used for gear, like farm gear or farming equipment or whatever, into a home. So, why are they living in this warehouse? I mean, they've made lemons out of, they've made lemonade out of the lemon, right? It's not a bad interior at all. Like, they've done a nice job with the inside of it, but it still is an outhouse, no matter what you want to call it. And why are they living in the warehouse? Joe and Kendra, who live on the property, actually live in an actual stick-built house. This would not be a stick-built house. And there are multiple dwellings on this property. And when Jim Bob actually built the big house, his hope at the time was that he would bring all the kids back and they would live on the property with him because he's creepy like that. Like, why would you want all of your kids to live on your property unless you have an obsession with controlling them? So he's got Joe and Kendra on the property. He's got Josh back on the property. But why are Josh and Anna there when they had their own house? They were not on the property. They're under investigation now. What is going on here? They've never given an explanation for why they sold their house. They haven't made any steps at all to buy any property. They're not renting anywhere. Clearly, they're like living off mom and dad. Josh's business is cut off. So is he even working right now? Does he even have a job? Is he even employed? Like, how are they getting by? Is this why Anna all of a sudden is doing a bunch of influencing on Instagram? She's been promoting like this face like cleanser thing that like scrubs your face. It's like an automatic thing that you put on your face. She's been promoting Audible books. In fact, all of the Duggars are suddenly like all swiping up on Instagram, which has a lot of people thinking that Counting On, that something's going on, because they weren't doing this before when Counting On was doing well. They didn't have to make their own income. So is this investigation going to drop a bomb and they all have to be prepared to move on without the show? Is the network getting ready to ditch the show? I mean, the network last week updated and posted Abby and John David's birth story, but they haven't announced if there's going to be another season of Counting On. But that wouldn't be weird because Counting On, when it starts again, wouldn't be until the fall. So they wouldn't announce whether or not they have a new season coming yet or if it's been picked up yet. It's just not time yet. They wouldn't do it until probably summer. So we don't know if there's another season of Counting On. We know they filmed John and Abby's birth, meaning there was likely cameras there. But what's with this sudden push by all of them? Ginger's doing influencing, and the poor girl is trying. She just keeps screwing up. Yesterday she did a blush, and then her swipe up went directly to an eyebrow kit. Yeah. They're trying. But they've also had pushback with people like complaining to the people that are selling these products, saying, why are you like allowing these people to push these products? Don't you understand their family's background? Don't you know what they do? Don't you know what their beliefs are? So there's all of this, but it's funny because, you've got Anna now influencing, Jessa's influencing. Hell, Jessa is regularly posting now on her YouTube channel, which she hadn't done. I was looking at her YouTube before, and until like a few months ago, she hadn't regularly posted on it in years. Now you've got Jana posting regularly on her YouTube. Ginger's trying to influence. So is the money train about to wind up? Does that mean that this investigation could potentially include their father? And that being that he's the source of income, that could be why they need some financial independence. Like, there's so many questions here. And of course, the Duggars lie about everything. They were like, we are not under investigation. That did not happen. So it just, there's so many signs pointing to something very serious is going on. Josh sold his property. Josh's business is gone. He's living in a freaking warehouse. All the kids now are trying to sell and become influencers. Jim Bob, you got Derek, who is completely like going, he was literally tweeting this morning about writing a tell-all book. So you got Derek that's continuing to fuel the fire that he's going to keep exposing his in-laws. Jim Bob hasn't said anything. And now Jim Bob's approval rating, if you could have one, is probably as low as Josh. I mean, they could be tied for how crappy they are. No one likes Jim Bob. No one likes Josh. So everyone else seems to try to be distancing themselves from those two. Except for Anna Duggar, who's like, we love Pops and Lolly. Pops and Lolly do everything for us. So why? Why is he living in a warehouse? Do you guys, can you tell me? Do we have any idea what could possibly be contributing to this warehouse living? I would love to hear your comments and your questions and anything that you have. Before we go, if you are haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't yet, give this video a thumbs up. Also, check out my social media down here. And you can become a member on here as well. Last night we did a stream where we did where we watched some old Duggar videos. I just want to remind the chat that live chatting is super fun, but we got to keep things PG-13, PG when we talk about things, because the robots on YouTube are just, they really don't like certain words, and we're not trying to be icky and trying to say like, you can't talk like this, but this is a business, and so we want to make sure that we stay monetized and not restricted. So thank you. This time, you guys, your chat looks great because I'm not having any issues there. So thank you so much for following all the rules today. We want to make sure that we continue to offer the chat option to all of you because we know you guys love it so much. So thank you guys for being good today. It's amazing. Last night we had a few issues, but I think we have resolved all of that. All right, you guys, so I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to work on stream number 3. I'm reading the Jessica Simpson book. I'm listening to it on Audible, and I'm about halfway through the book, and I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to hear about it, and if you do, let me know in the comments, and we can kind of do a what I've learned so far about Jessica Simpson. All right, you guys, I'll be back in a little while.